Do you know the good thing about pain is that you physically or mentally cannot remember the actual pain? And what do I mean by that? So I'm looking back on my life back in 1990, 1991, when I first got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. And I know that I was in absolute agony because of the things that happened, the hospitalisation, the fact that in my first year at university, leading up to that first hospitalisation, my friends would knock round at breakfast, at tea time, and obviously due to go for meals and things, it just didn't happen. I literally couldn't get out of bed. But I look at myself now, or I think about myself now, and I think, how could you have been that poorly that you couldn't physically get out of bed? Like literally couldn't physically get out of bed unless I had the urgency to go to the toilet. That was the only motivation. And it wasn't really a motivation, it was such an urgency. That was the only time I was getting out of bed. I wasn't drinking, I wasn't eating. I literally was asleep. I had a hot water bottle. That was the other thing. I had a hot water bottle. And I'd go into our little kitchen on our corridor. It was like the tiniest little scrappiest kitchen with a kettle. No, I didn't even have that. I had that in my room. I had, oh my gosh, I can't even remember. Because I think I would brush my teeth. Was that in my room? I can't remember. Anyway, I know I had a kettle in my room and that would keep me topped up. And my tummy was like red raw because I would have boiling hot water, no cover on the hot water bottle. It would literally be sat on my tummy because I was in that much agony. And interestingly, I don't know if you know this or not, but doctors can actually tell how acute your pain is based on the burn marks on wherever it is you're putting your hot water bottle, wherever it is you are experiencing the pain. And I remember that first time, it was the GP that saw me and my tummy was just red raw. Like, he knew that I was ill. Not even having any other investigations, he knew that I was severely poorly, or he knew that I was in acute pain because of the hot water bottle marks, scars, scoldings on my tummy. It was crazy. But the good thing about your mind is that you cannot actually remember pain. Think back to any occasion when something has been so painful. I don't know if you've ever broken any bones, or if you've had a fall, or I'm just trying to think of different occasions where you might have experienced pain. You cannot actually remember the pain. You can remember how you felt. You can remember maybe the circumstances. And I remember so much about that time, but I cannot put my finger on how it was that I was so ill that I couldn't get out of bed. I'd have cleaners in the university knock on my room, because they would kind of periodically once a week give the rooms a bit of a clean. And Damien still wonders whether I did actually go to university or whether I was actually in a bit of a mental institute. Who knows? And I couldn't, I just had to tell them to go. I was so poorly. But yeah, it wasn't a good time. But you know what? I think back to my age 19 and I had the best time. I never look back on that period as being a terrible time of my life, because honestly, the good outweighed the bad, even though the bad was horrendous. And I genuinely feel that age 19 is one of my favourite ages, which is bizarre because you think of all the things that happened to me, and yet it's my favourite age, because I think sometimes we do almost like see our time and just focus in on the bad. And you know what? All the time, bad things happen, good things happen, but it's how you choose to focus your energy. And I believe in frequency, I believe in wavelengths. whenever I'm poorly, like I'm on such a low, and all I can remember are the times I've been ill. Whenever I'm feeling healthy, I don't even think about the times I've been poorly. When I'm on an up, when I'm happy, when I'm healthy, when I've got lots of energy, that's all my memory remembers are the good times. So I would say almost like train your brain to focus in on the good. And it's interesting as well, because I know that this didn't happen in 1991. Your likes of social media, Facebook, all of that arrived in 2008, so way later than my initial diagnosis. But I don't think my mindset has ever changed. So people say you always put good things on Facebook. Well, I didn't know in 2008, 2009 that Facebook, fast forward 10, 15 years, that they would give you your memories to look back on. And I look back on my Facebook memories and it fills me with joy. It fills me with joy. If I look back and if I'd have been filling my Facebook with anger, with negativity, with just like all the bad things that have happened, my mind would be reminded of that time and again and time and again and time and again. And I know people say Facebook is false, you're not giving the true representation, and I get that. But it actually helps me focus in on the good parts of my life. And that's how I think. That's how I conduct my existence. I'm not saying for a minute bad things don't happen. And if you follow me, if you follow my journey, if you subscribe to me, you will see there have been a ton of bad things that have happened to me as an adult. But I am intrinsically a positive person. I am intrinsically happy because I choose to be. And I genuinely think it's something that can be learned. You can train your mind to look at the positives. We all know that example, those examples where you find a car, right? You found your dream car and you absolutely love it. You've never seen one of these cars before, but you see it in a showroom or you see it somewhere and you're like, oh my gosh, I want that car. You leave the showroom and over the course of the next few hours, days, weeks, you will spot that car. And all of a sudden, something that you thought was so unique suddenly feels that it is everywhere. And it's because your mind is now tuned in, it's focused, it knows, it's got a pathway, it knows what to look for. And those cars have probably always been there, but you haven't noticed them before. But since you have that connection, that attraction, your mind is then wanting to give you more of what you are looking for. And if that is a good thing, amazing. If it is a bad thing, if you're constantly telling your mind that you are looking for bad things, guess what? That's what your mind will give you. So even though age 19 was the toughest age of my life, I look back on it with the fondest memories. And that's how I've conducted my whole life. I've not shied away from the negatives. I've not shied away from the bad. I've chosen not to give those elements of my life the energy. I focus in on the positives. So that's today's little installment. I'd love to know what you think. Am I completely doolally? Was I actually in a mental institute at age 19 and not at university? Let me know what you think and hit the subscribe button. There is plenty more to come.